straighter.
I never feel more self-conscious than when I'm looking at myself at this live cast, and I always think, like, is that what I look like to people? Do people just walk around me all day not noticing that I look this weird?
I need to be more aware of my angles. I mean, people that can always be on camera, I just gotta be like,
people that can be aware of their angles at all time
it's a skill.
Have a sixth sense. It's something special.
I mean, film actors really are something special because they know their angles, they know how much they can move, and then to still be able to have like the truth come out
it's
in this perfectly
impressive.
Technical way.
Yeah,
not fucking easy to do, especially now that I do theater, where you just have basically unlimited freedom in your movement. And the bigger the better, because it's essentially like you're using the smallest lens possible to reach the people in the back. It's like, oh shit, you've got to somehow keep it all here. You know your angle. Like, you know what I mean? Without losing anything. Like, holy crap, no wonder they tell you just basically need to practice that.
I know in the future we'll all need to know our angles because we'll never.
Everything will be televised.
Well, everything will
broadcast.
Everything will be live streamed for sure. We have it's all happening, people. It's all happening. The world. Let's start off.
Oh no!
Hi.
Are you starting off with the craziness?
No, I'm just gonna start with hello.
Everyone.
Welcome to the podcast. This is what we do.
The long lost podcast.
Yay!
I feel like I've been out of it for a while.
I think it's only been 13 or so days. So like this is
that's approximately
16,
how long I had
days.
tech rehearsal and then opening and then life.
Yeah,
and then sleeping. So
yeah,
that sounds about right.
And also, I feel like this podcast is in sync with the spirits and with the natural rhythm of things. Like this is not a podcast that is at the behest of mere earthly human man-made cycles like weeks and months.
Also,
and
I think
hours.
It was wise of us to slow it down during retrograde because everything else was a firestorm.
Yeah,
at least I feel like I had some hefty firestorms in terms of communications.
Well, we had
things. So.
There was a lot of internal things to pay attention to. But still, nonetheless, when the cup overfloweth, once you've done your mental health checklist, do I have enough for myself? Have I inflated my own mask? Is it securely fastened around my face? Then you can start to tend to other people, and that is what we do. When we feel the spirit and we have the energy, we come to you, and we do a podcast called Woke with Kids, and I am Inyaze.
I'm Melissa.
That's right. And we talk about the world around us because it is around us and we are in it. And that is the whole summation of it. So, without further ado, let's get into some things that have happened in the world recently. What in the world is happening? Okay, first of all,
you've got the news, Apple News, up on your screen. Who the fuck is this white dude pointing his finger? I don't like that.
That guy is, I don't know. He looks like he's just some average, regular white dude who's...
They picked that photo to be inflammatory.
He is the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts. Andrew Lelling is who he is. Does anybody know who he is?
Let him know.
Do you want to talk about this? Okay, let's talk about this. So... let's start with some lighthearted news. If you guys don't remember, a couple of weeks back, there was a whole kerfluffle, whole big misunderstanding around some really well-meaning parents who were trying to do right by their kids, give them the best.
By bribing admissions, people related to admissions and testing.
That's a judgmental tone. These parents.
I'm an ENFJ, so.
These parents were very concerned about their kids' future because the world is a very dangerous place. It's a very competitive world out there, and you got to give your kid every advantage. And being rich is sometimes just not enough, okay? Just being rich is not enough. So sometimes your parents have to do what they have to do, and if that means pretending like you were in rowboat class or crew or whatever you call it, or if that means saying that you played a sport that you didn't and bribing a coach or two and calling Mr. Fix-It, and God damn it, honey, Isn't that what we do for our kids? Come on.
If only.
Come on.
So Lori Loughlin, and who definitely is the face of it to a large degree, because one of her, or if not both of her daughters,
yes,
got into USC on a bribe, especially the young one, who has stated numerously that she is not interested in learning at college, but she likes the parties.
You gotta love honesty. You gotta.
She pled guilty, and so did Felicity Huffman, who's also a famous actress and is also the face of the scandal.
Yes,
and they both pled guilty, which I respect.
Yeah, and so they all paid this guy William Singer, who ran a college counseling service called Key Worldwide Foundation. Innocuous.
I think that's okay. Side note: that's part of the key to these scams that I don't know if enough people of color know about. If that's what you're into, you got to call it something.
Yeah, you got to call it something.
You got to give it like a white business name.
Absolutely. Keep that in mind, because that's something I want to talk about. That was an interesting story that came up. But yeah, key. The words key. I mean, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but whenever you start talking about keys,
but then you put in like Key West, like that just sounds vacation-y, kind of exclusive.
Oh, I was thinking more like
the key to success. All of it.
Or I was going to think like the Masonic key to the
all
the
of it. All of it.
Know.
I think it's a key word that subconsciously you're like, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, like they know what's up. So
for him to come up with that name, I thought is
brilliant. Just just peak whiteness.
Pretty smart.
So William Singer accepted $25 million in bribes to carry out these cheating schemes, and I'm honestly surprised at what a great deal these people got, because $25 million doesn't seem like a ton of money to me, actually. I mean, to risk all of this, which is about to happen, which brings us to the point of the story, which is normally what happens in these incidents is that these white people get a slap on the wrist and they pay a fine, they go about their business. But in this instance, it appears that federal prosecutors in Boston have signaled that some of the adult children of the parents might be charged with criminal charges as well, which is indication that they're throwing the book at these people. They're treating this like as a very serious...
Well, did you read about how it all came about? They were investigating something completely different. Some, like, investment scandal shit.
No.
Some, like, government fraud shit on investments.
Okay.
And that dude was like, okay, you got me, but I got something for your ass.
Oh, I see.
And he said, I know about this dude who runs this thing.
Oh, he's straight ratted.
Yes.
Oh, man, snitching.
So that's why they're like, people? Okay, we going after them, because this is not quite a bigger fish, but it's a big fish. And it was a completely separate investigation that wasn't even happening. They had no idea. And a guy who was being investigated for some sort of securities and exchange fraud was like, look, you bring my sentence down,
okay,
and I'm gonna give you all the tea. And then he was like taping folks. He had people calling, being like, so we just need to clarify that we're all on the same page. So what did you do again?
Wow.
And they was like, oh, I did this. And they said, you basically, what's your name? What's your kid's name? You gave how much money to what school for what? And you said they did what? And got it all on tape.
Well, that just goes to show you how brazen this shit is. Brazen. How the cojones, the balls, the ute, the fucking, the amount of moxie, sheer moxie these days that people don't feel like they could get caught, like they feel like they're above. Like, I mean,
if I do some shit and then somebody call me and want me to spell it out, I'll be like, you know what happened?
What the fuck? Wrong number. If I go to the weed store right now, looking around like, y'all good? Y'all, what's up? What's up, y'all good today?
I would immediately be like,
I walk out the weed store still feeling like a criminal. Okay, I'm on the phone talking to people. So I'm like, yeah, I just went to the pharmacy. I can't even say the weed store. I can't say the cannabis store on the telephone for fear in my mind. Because in my mind, that goes against 30 years of instinctual training.
I still haven't gone in. I'm still a little like...
I know, that's funny. I low-key feel like you thinking one day they're going to reverse it.
I just have not prioritized it. It has been so off my radar for so long. But I'm just curious now. And at one time, after they made it legal here, I think I smoked a joint in my own backyard. And at first I was like, my neighbors can smell it. My landlord, I'm right in front of his door, essentially. He gonna know. And then I was like, oh. Everybody
it's
okay.
Is high now. With these vapes, this vape revolution.
I be walking in Santa Monica and people just hit it walking down the street.
Everyone is high
with the cops rolling by.
No, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about, what really added the whole, and I don't really care about the Fed, this whole cheating thing with the white people. I don't care. If you, like me, are black, or if you like me are not black but you see clearly, didn't you already assume they were doing this? Didn't you already think this is how it was working? Because all the movies and all the stories are about like legacies and rich people donating, buying buildings.
Families and paid money for sure. I thought that was part of it. And
you donate to the school and your kid gets
in. But that was, I think it was just the outright lies.
Yeah.
And and they weren't legacy. So they didn't go through the traditional cheating route.
I think it was
legalized. They tried to go around it.
Yeah. I think it was that. Yes, there's that. The fact that they found a new form of cheating. But also I think it was some of the stories about how little the motherfucking kids wanted to go. And I think and also obviously not to rehash an old story, but also the residual festering anger and resentment about being a minority and being accused of only being at school because you're black or you're Asian or something like that.
As if you're
going to school for free and all of a sudden
academic credentials.
Yeah. And then also probably coupled with the fact that we're living in this new era of crippling student debt where so many people have to go to school, so many people have to mortgage their lives and so many years of their life in order to get this degree. But anyways, I don't even give a fuck about any of that. What really struck me about this is what we were talking about earlier about the snitching thing, is how they were caught, how all this stuff came out, and how cool white people are with snitching. Like, even with Trump and
Cohen.
And all these people who leave his administration, they go out, they write books, and all of the books are slanderous. All of the books say wild shit about Trump. Trump don't never be, Trump just like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. He moves on. He seems to understand that it's part and parcel of it. Steve Bannon has flamed him in his books since he's left. Comey obviously flamed him. So many other people. Everyone, even his friends say wild shit about him, But they seem cool with this snitching. They seem cool with telling all these stories. Here's my thing. And I'm going to make it dark. And it's going to be sad. Let's start talking about some sad shit. We got to talk about snitching. Because I feel like at the core of Nipsey, the death of Nipsey, the death of a young king, right? At the core of this, essentially the story, the sad story is toxic masculinity, a very specific strain of black male toxic masculinity, which is you hurt my feelings sufficiently and I have to retaliate by killing you. It's the only way. And that came to mind because by witness accounts and according to many people, if you've been under buried in a rock, if you don't know, the great Nipsey Hussle was murdered only like a week ago. Like not even. I mean, it's crazy. The story was that this man who was an acquaintance and had been around and recently been released or whatever came to the store to get equipped and to get fitted up because Nipsey was doing him a solid because Nipsey's a great guy. He comes. And, I don't know what happens. I wasn't there. You weren't there.
No.
Go ahead.
This wasn't the dude he was getting fitted up.
This wasn't the dude.
No.
Go ahead. Tell her.
So Nipsey heard his boy got out of prison and was going to see his family. So he said, meet me at the shop.
Got it. Okay.
We're going to fit you up before you see your family.
Got it.
This other dude who had been around rolled up on him. And
they had words.
And
Nipsey, during the exchange, said publicly that he called him a snitch.
Yes.
Call a dude a snitch.
We don't know the specifics.
We don't know the specifics of what was. Yeah, we don't know.
That dude left and came back.
And apparently came back with a young woman who was waiting around the corner in a getaway vehicle. He walked up to the.
She claims she didn't know.
She claims that, but I mean,
when he got back in the car, he didn't say nothing. Like what he did.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure she knew shortly after something had happened and who the fuck was involved. Anyway, I don't know. I can't get in that. I'm not that young woman.
I mean, I agree. Yes. So I think your point about the toxic masculinity is very striking and is really part of the heart of the issue that I hope the community at large feels compelled to address.
I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know so. And that's
I think we're still so much in mourning that we have not quite gotten to that part yet.
That could be very.
That's how I feel. Yeah, I really have not spent any time on Eric Holder except to think, what the fuck is Christopher Darden doing representing him?
We'll see though. Let's back up. This because there's so many weird parts of this. Okay, there's no way we can talk about this without also examining the fact that there's this conspiracy theory around his death, which involves a documentary that he's making about Dr. Sebi. If you probably don't, if you're not black and you're not into a very specific niche of the culture,
holistic living,
natural, vegan, healing yourself with natural, elemental based, plant based herbs and things. We're talking about healing yourself from HIV, cancer. And
I mean, Dr. Sebi won his lawsuit. They tried to sue him because he was saying, I can cure cancer if people adopt my practices and this plant-based diet, et cetera, et cetera. And he won that lawsuit. And
look, to be completely clear, he did not win a lawsuit saying that he could cure cancer, but he did win a lawsuit saying that he could not be sued for claiming that he could cure cancer. And since that failed lawsuit against him, there's been this mythology or this belief among some people that he actually could do these things. And I'm not here to
And then also his death was suspect.
So
at large, his methods, if spread on a wider global level, would
endanger the pharmaceutical and medical.
So they had to take him out. And the theory is that anyone who began to speak publicly about the benefits of Dr. Sebi's methods and methodology also seemed to die under mysterious circumstances.
A la
Lisa Left Eye Lopez and some others.
And it's a difficult. I'm not a conspiracy-based guy. I'm a spiritualist, but I'm a mystic, a spiritualist, but I'm not a conspiracy-based guy. But it is hard as a black man to not entertain seriously any conspiracy that
not in America,
that
not
comes
in
up.
The United States of America. Hell no.
Yeah, well, in particular because black people have been the routine subject of all the goddamn conspiracies.
Right.
Like we know
there were FBI files on Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
on Malcolm X.
Right. We know they injected the syphilis.
Party.
We know they injected the syphilis. We know that they flooded the streets with cocaine in the 60s to fund their wars.
In the 80s.
The 80s to fund their wars. We know these things. Heroin in the 60s and 70s, and then crack cocaine in the 80s. My bad. Don't want to confuse my drug floods. But so we know these things happen. So it's difficult when you fast forward to the present and you try to make sort of logical, reasonable, maybe it's just this or it's just that, and you try to make sort of minimalist arguments. People go like, well, what about this and what about that? And it's very difficult actually not to resist that, because even in this instance with Nipsey, the guy who shoots him, there does seem to be something to the idea that he was a police informant and that he did have a prior relationship with the police. That to some black people, including myself, that is going to seem motherfucking suspect.
It's not outside the realm of believability, much less possibility.
Right, and there's also the fact that Nipsey was absolutely a bona fide, dyed-in-the-wool Crip who was actively involved in his community as a Crip, but as a positive member of his community, trying to turn the Crips back into what they were, the Crips and the Bloods back into what they were in the beginning of their formation, which was neighborhood community organizations, which were aimed at neighborhood empowerment and cleaning up the community and controlling the economics of the community, much like the mafia began in Sicily, and then it became, affiliated with various criminal activities because the government don't want nobody being independent. The government doesn't want anybody being able to make money or be independent of the government, so they're going to make everything that you can make money doing independently illegal, i.e. drugs, because that's one of the easiest things that you can mobilize, put on the streets, and turn a profit on. So, of course, that's going to become illegal, and we're going to be the ones to be illegalized by that shit. So Nipsey's out here trying to convert the structure and the organizational potential of this gangs into positive structures in the community. And LA don't want none of that shit, because LA, as fucking liberal as we profess to be, as a Southern boy born and raised under the shadow of direct racism, it's very clear based on the zoning and how the various ethnicities and racial groups in LA get laid out, and how very clearly the demarcation and zoning is between this is where you live, this is where the Asians live, this is where the Latinos live, this is where black people are allowed to live, and this is only where the rich, white, entitled people or their guests. And
I think also as gentrification spreads across the city, one thing that's very notable about what Nipsey was doing and really encouraging others who had the means was to reinvest in their community, specifically by buying real estate in South LA, which is something that he did. They initially were, when they opened up the Marathon clothing store, it was just they were renting the shop, and the owners of that lot were like, yo, we're getting a lot of heat. They want us to evict you, et cetera, but you have brought in more business. We've been able to rent out more shops because of the business here. This is a positive thing. So we would rather, if possible, sell the property to you guys rather than evict you. And as his brother, Black Sam, mentioned in the during the homegoing service, they found a way to buy that lot. And so
that's incredible, y'all. I mean, in
really
LA,
is because as they remodel and kick out renters of storefronts, etc., gentrification is taking over South LA. I mean, so much so, but specifically as they, work on the metro line that's going to be going down Crenshaw. I mean, now if you look on the home websites, home sale websites, there's so many homes in that area that are pushing $1 million.
Yeah.
They are clearly remodeling and marketing those to upwardly mobile white families who have been priced out of the West Side and Beverly Hills and some of these other quote unquote affluent areas. And essentially saying it's cool if you move here. It's a great home. It's a great area. It's up and coming. And they have essentially continued to push out, low income renters, the store owners who again were able to have businesses there for decades are now also being forced to move or close down. So it is a very orchestrated attack against people of color, specifically Black people in this area, of owning property. And Nipsey was very actively countering that and explaining why and using his means to do so. And as I thought they pointed out so wonderfully during the service, the music was just the vessel. The music was his way of essentially spreading a much broader message of unity.
Yeah.
Within the community and recycling the Black dollars and supporting each other. I mean, he was fixing up playgrounds and athletic areas at schools that were underfunded. He had the Vector 9, which was like encouraging STEM, learning and community there, and numerous other things. He was employing. I saw a graphic where between his music, the clothing store, the academic centers, he had employed around 40,000 people.
That's incredible.
Throughout all of this.
That's a king. That's why so many people.
One guy.
That's why so many people flooded the homegoing ceremony. It was just gigantic. But I just want to, before I lose it, I want to go back to that point about gentrification, because it's a really nuanced point. And one thing I want to draw attention to, because I know we have white listeners, and out there, they probably, some of them are listening and they're going, what can I do? I don't want to be an asshole. How can I not be an asshole? You're not an asshole, but you do have to recognize that the ability to move into, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is how systemic racism works. The natural pressures, like without a white person having to think, hey, wow, I want to invade somebody's neighborhood and push them out of it and claim it for my own, to be a colonizer. They don't have to have that thought. All they have to have the thought is, it's time for us to have a house, because we're gonna have a family. So now we gotta have a house. So now I'm looking around. Oh my God, we can't afford a $3 million house. Here's a house. It's only $600,000. We can afford this house. We're gonna get this house. They don't. That's as far as the thinking goes. Then they move into the house and they get to the neighborhood and they're like, oh wow, this is great. It's gonna be diverse for the kid. I think a lot of these liberal white people get there and they're like, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be diverse for the kids. It's gonna be, it's gonna be wonderful. Blah blah blah. They don't even understand that they are the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, they don't understand the byproduct of what allowed them to get there. Like, whose family sold that house?
Yeah, right.
Who basically lost an opportunity for generational wealth. And then more so, I think, and we see this across the country. Okay, so you move in, you got your spot, and you're like, okay, a lot of black people, it's cool. I'm cool with that. I like black people.
Yeah.
But then you're like, damn. Why is this homeless guy always on the corner at the gas station, always hitting me up?
Right.
Oh, what's up with this? There's so much trash on my street. Oh, what's up with this? They don't have a Starbucks close by. Oh, what's up with this? I don't like this Ralph's.
Why is this
what's up with
why are they playing this music?
And then, this is
yeah.
so loud. This is this. I don't like what's going on in my neighborhood. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to complain. I'm going to go to my HOA. Yeah. And you start to follow these complaints. And because you're a property owner and you got money behind your name.
Yeah. And your kid.
The city council
essentially,
and again, you're driving outside of that community to go to a Trader Joe's and do your grocery shopping. You're getting gas somewhere else. You're, patronizing other shops outside of the community. So your dollars are not then supporting the neighborhood in which you live. And sometimes you are looking down on the people who already live there. You're making judgments based on what the culture already is there, whether it's hanging out on the stoop or playing the music loud or just whatever the people in the neighborhood do. Yeah. You don't like it. You want it changed. So you say, okay, who's my city council? Who do I have to go? Where's my neighborhood association so I can start and get something new here? And that continues and continually displaces the community and the culture that is already there. And that is really, I think, where people of whatever color who have the means, who move into a neighborhood where they are not already a part of the culture, have to really start to be self-aware and reflective on their actions and how they spend their dollars and how they are actively trying to change the neighborhood that they moved into. Yeah. It's like, so these people living in Oakland who were like, oh, this girl is selling water or he's barbecuing in the wrong area. Like, hey, it's not your job to come in and be the ranger.
That's right.
And call the police.
The candy lady was there before you when you got there.
Exactly.
She gonna be there.
People have been barbecuing in this spot for decades. That's so you know what you can do? You can just smile and keep it moving. You can just buy the water from little homegirl and keep it pushing. Walk on by.
That's right.
And just be like, all right, well, maybe I should have did my due diligence before I moved up in here. And I decide I don't want kids vending on my street or whatever it is. And then you save up your dollars and you move somewhere where that is not the culture.
That's right. Can we talk a little bit about how amazing his mother's speech was?
I mean, I am very conflicted about her speech because
talk about that to me. Yeah.
I watched the bulk of the service, and I mean, she was very zen and talking about how she was at peace and this and that. I heard very unverified that she may be on like Xanax or something.
I was literally about to say that.
You know what? That makes the most sense to me. I'm not necessarily saying that I want her to be exhibiting grief in the most extreme way, but she was eerily zen about it to me, and I struggled with that because not that it was not a genuine, sincere, and authentic moment for her, but it struck me as odd. So when someone introduced the idea that she may be on a drug like Xanax that would basically numb her a bit and allow her to function, I was able to believe that very quickly. So I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory or not, but and it's just so. It was just so tragic, really, because
I couldn't write anything because every time I started writing, I could only write about 3 sentences, and then I would get brain freeze. But
listen to this. It's too much to listen to the whole thing, but I just wanted to hear her tone of voice.
To me,
she's very even-keeled.
A minute.
Very composed, which I think is appropriate.
This is good. This is the part that I think is very good. This is the part I did want to.
We don't need to look to the sky for a God. God is within.
I mean, she was dropping some gems.
Oh, no, she was like...
No doubt. She really was...
I definitely believe that through suffering, you can have profound
I'm happy.
insight.
I'm complete. I am strong.
Okay, let me pause there. I feel like that's telling. I feel like that's telling right there. Like, first of all, I don't believe none of the first three things she said. I am happy, I'm complete, any of those words. I think those are words that are more like I am manifesting those. Like, she seems like she comes from a tradition of manifestation.
Oh, she said she went to Christ Unity Center.
Oh, okay.
She clearly laid it out.
Okay, so
she's been going to the African Science.
So I get that. So I get like,
it.
You don't claim what you don't want to be. So
and
she's claiming.
And I agree that she is not. I mean, how many times have I brought up Eckhart Tolle? She's not there to wallow in the trauma.
Right.
She's not there to use that platform to wail and basically broadcast grief.
Right.
And sadness.
She's not trying to transmit her pain.
She is using the opportunity at that service to uplift and to point a light to where there may be a respite from the suffering that we are all feeling.
Yes.
And I think that's very admirable.
Yes.
And I don't believe that takes away from her grief in any way. It was just astonishing to me that she was able to, I guess, just share that.
That was Langston. Pardon me for just 2 seconds.
And now he's calling me. Hi. Hi. How's it going? You okay? Daddy's coming in. You okay? Daddy's coming in, okay? Movie's over. You want to do some classical, baby? Hi. Uh-oh. Hi.
That's it.
Okay, you gotta go to bed or watch classical, baby, and go to bed.
I didn't see that.
No, he's already gone.
Oh.
Okay, go back inside. Did you put on classical, baby?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you pause it? No. So, I mean, it was just hard for me. It was just difficult to the service. It was just, I really don't have the words. I think this whole week and a half, it has been very difficult to process this tragedy. I knew who this man was. I knew more about him because of what he was doing and what he meant to his community more than the music.
1,000%.
And it was just striking at how composed she was in contrast to his other family members and other people who got up to speak.
Yeah, I think, when Lauren spoke, and I was very deeply moved because I'm always deeply moved when I think about that rending. That's just a terrible thing. That's every man's worst nightmare, is the idea of not going home to your wife and kids and leaving them bereft. And all of this, that's who I'm the most sad for, is Lauren, and because they look so happy. They look so.
Oh man, the love that they had is like just the levels to that is just astonishing. It's amazing.
I mean, she was on a horse. She was on a white horse.
What she described in the text. I mean, I definitely, and someone else had said this, that she read one of her most recent text messages to him. She was watching him sleeping and just overcome with love, and wrote this whole beautiful text to him. And then even I think her Instagram message after he was murdered. It's just amazing what they shared, and I think what is beautiful and bittersweet, but I think he very much knew how she felt. You know, we're always saying give people their flowers while they're here.
Yes.
I don't think there was any doubt in his mind what he had and what they shared.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, all in all, just I wasn't deeply privy to the young man's music, but I caught up on Victory Lap. You know, like a lot of people, I'm sure
Oh, they won't stop playing it on the radio,
which is fantastic. I
think
mean,
so,
because
too.
that
He
benefits
owned
his
all the
family.
masters.
He owns all the masters.
So
It's all his
buy the
money.
records, y'all. Buy
Yes.
the records. Support the store.
Yes.
I'm looking to see how else can people support so that the monies continue to go to his estate.
Yes.
To support his children. He's got young children. I mean, really, in the service, the one that broke me down was his brother.
Yeah, that part too.
Oh man.
It's just all around, just very.
Oh man.
Just very, very, very tragic that Kodak Black is just walking around, just living and thriving, and
I mean, and also someone else was pointing out. I mean, in the decades, only like maybe one other person has had their homegoing service at the Staples Center and had it sold out.
people were.
And then the outpouring in the streets, as he literally had a victory lap through his city. I mean, just the levels to it. So. We could go on and on about it.
It was a death of a look. It was as close to the death of a king in as we get in the African American community in terms of the love, the sheer numbers of people. We just haven't seen this in a long time, man.
It really is in mourning.
It was just
a heaviness that we felt. It was because even when I was younger and Tupac died, it felt like a big loss because he was very vocal about uplifting the Black community, but some of his lifestyle choices were in conflict with his values.
That's right. That's right.
Whereas with Nip, it was much more aligned.
Yes,
much more aligned and very active. I mean, to the day.
There's also
of his death. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think, and also, as his brother pointed out, so many people were just encouraged to still see him on the same block, and he patronized Simply Wholesome and local spots, and people knew him, and he was helping the kids. And so to have someone that you can see and touch and know and have seen grow up to be taken this way is just very difficult.
Yeah, and it does, and I can't help but mention also it gives it it has a very biblical resonance. I mean, especially since the cat was Eritrean, which, I mean, for all intents and purposes is Ethiopia, that land. And it just, there's something, I don't know what it is about these, it's something about that, man. It's about him, about the way he brought the Diaspora together as well.
Oh, I thought the service was so beautiful in that respect.
Some people were noticing it. I know people.
He was still as very connected to his Eritrean culture. He had gone there. Obviously, his father was a large presence in his life, actively, and was always around. And I think we can see that in how he moved through the world, how he was as a father. Yeah. How he was as a man. I mean, we could really spend the whole damn episode on Nip. So may he rest in power. And I hope that we as a community really take this to heart and follow that light that he led with. Yes. Tomorrow, in fact, at the Marathon store, they have organized a cleanup with all of the many people who have gone to pay their respects. And, last week's kerfuffle, there's, broken glass and a lot of trash, and they're encouraging people to arrive with gloves and trash bags and clean up. And I hope that that's something that can continue, monthly cleanups in different areas of the neighborhood.
That's what's up.
Investing in these organizations that he started and supported, and again, really being intentional with how we spend our money.
Indeed.
And how we encourage people. And I mean, I don't know what else I can really say except that it has just been a very difficult week whenever I think about it, or just.
Well, I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to think about that, but I'm also encouraged when I see the outpouring of the energy that was released by it. And sometimes that's what it takes to activate a wave, is that, unfortunately, sometimes you need a spark like that.
I definitely feel that we've been activated, and it's that his his whole life was so intentional that we couldn't help but be moved by it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that will fade. I mean, yeah, maybe the Instagram posts will slow down, but I don't think that all of these people will ever forget what he stood for and what he encouraged. And I think that we can find some hope that through his death we can be even more galvanized to invest in our community in many of the ways that he advocated for.
That's right. Amen. Amen and shalom. Shalom. Moving on to some other news that you guys should know about. Other than Nipsey, although he's very important. Couple of things have happened in the news. Julian Assange has finally been evicted from his 7-year residency in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, which is significant. He basically fell out with the new president, who doesn't give a fuck about WikiLeaks as much. Times have changed. WikiLeaks has been shown and proven to be more an arm of Russian intelligence than anything else. But when he was arrested and put into the van, he yelled out, "Resist." So I'm not sure what you need to resist, but
wow,
you should resist something. You should just start right now.
I love how Trump is now like, oh, WikiLeaks? I don't know nothing about that.
What? Wiki who? Wiki what?
Wiki
what? Wiki
when,
what?
I mean,
Wiki what?
We clearly, we have that motherfucking receipt.
You know what?
Talking about I love WikiLeaks.
The whole the video age, the age of infinite data and everything being recorded has taken. Liars have got to be at another level now. You got to be like the Superman of, like the Batman of liars.
So what's
now.
crazy about Trump is that
To
he
lie with video
continues to basically like refuse to even acknowledge that he lives in this digital age and
That's
he
what
is
I'm saying.
president
He
in
didn't
this
say that
age.
shit.
Where
Except when he has something to tweet. Then he's very savvy.
It's literally like, we didn't see what we saw and we didn't hear what we heard.
Well,
and even if we play it, he will somehow say that didn't really happen.
You didn't hear it. You absolutely didn't.
I'm just going to start calling him the gaslighter in chief.
That's there you go, gaslighter in chief. That's why he is the perfect man to really tell Joe Biden about himself and get him on the fucking straight and narrow about touching people. Stop touching people, Joe. Stop connecting with people and the voters and stuff.
So if Biden had grabbed somebody by the pussy, would that be okay?
That's okay, because
right.
But only if you're a celebrity.
A man in power,
only if you're a
you can
celebrity.
do what you want.
Only if you're a celebrity, though. There you go. Gotcha. So that happened. Also, Trump's sister, who you may or may not know, was a federal appointed judge.
Fuck.
Yeah, just recently retired. But here's why. Here's an interesting reason. She, as well as a number of the Trump family, are currently under investigation in New York for tax evasion. She was about to be brought up on charges on a specific rule that seated judges who get caught in this type of malfeasance are vulnerable, whatever. I'm trying to simplify this. Are vulnerable to this type of prosecution or indictment. So her solution was, well, I'll just quit. I'll retire. And then I'm not seated anymore. And it worked. So now she was facing criminal liability, and now she's retiring with like all the perks and the pension and like $200,000 a year and all this stuff. But what's funny about this and why people are paying attention to it is because Trump and some of his children are also indicted in this scheme. And so to them, it's a telling indication of what might be the truth of his current actual tax situation, why he won't release his tax statements.
I mean,
I think this is how we get him. I don't think this is
we always get the gangsters with the tax evasion. Look at motherfucking Al Capone. Come on now. We didn't get him for none of the bodies in the Hudson. We didn't get him for none of the bodies in the East River. We got that dude on tax evasion.
Because he didn't want to give up a few of his ill-begotten bloody coins. Greed. The oldest of the sins.
So, I mean...
So I can't wait to see what happens.
So what do you think about after this report came out, the Mueller report?
I think this was always
and then Barr
bullshit.
was like, "Oh, ain't nothing in there." And now, after 2 years of silence, people who worked on this investigation are like, hold up, wait a minute. Actually, we summarized it, and that's not what he said, and there's something in there."
I think we always forgot the fact that this was a Justice Department investigation because Jeff Sessions recused himself initially.
Right.
If Jeff Sessions hadn't recused himself, the whole last 2-3 years would have been a completely different fucking story. Rachel Maddow would have had to pick a completely different point of her show.
It made it so anticlimactic for the dude to just be like, "Oh, I read ain't shit in there."
Well,
now we're pushing for the full release, but it's kind of it's already lost
his job.
wind.
Barr, before he got into office, Billy Barr, he got his job by writing a letter to the president saying, "You know what I would do if I was your attorney general? You know how I would love you? They don't love you like I would love you. I don't even think that they should be able to even fucking prosecute you or indict you. They shouldn't even be able to investigate you," is what he said. And so you know who loved that shit? Trump. So he hired him. And then as soon as it was a dead, the Mueller report was dead on arrival. The second
As soon
he
as
was
that
confirmed.
dude was confirmed.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was
And
that was the move.
that's just how these fools roll.
Yeah.
That's how they work. So I mean, moving on from that, I haven't yet really wrapped my mind around it, or more accurately, haven't given time to wrap my mind around it. But right now, I just feel like on the Democratic side, we got too many motherfuckers trying to get the bid. It's like up to 20 right now, or some shit like that. Y'all.
But
We
Bernie
got
Sanders
to
is
cut
still the front runner,
that
though.
shit down.
It's true. Bernie's still the front runner.
Because it's such minute differences at this point, vaguely.
There are some differences, but I would lump them like this. Honestly, you got the moderates versus they'll never get electeds. You know, like you got the Corey.
So we need to cut them, never get elected out immediately. And so that when I get these emails about giving money to this person and this person and this campaign, fuck all that. Fuck all of that.
I hear what you're saying, but I
They
think
need
we got
to partner
time.
up.
I still think we got time.
They need to partner
Who
up.
would we even do now? Who would you even get behind?
I
right now,
don't even know.
Who
There's
would
so
you get
many
behind?
that I've literally forgot, like, who's even in the running.
Let's keep it real to the real people. Like, you
I
got
don't
Kamala
like-
Harris.
I don't like Bernie.
You got Elizabeth Warren. What do you think about Elizabeth Warren?
I mean, I haven't really. I guess.
Nothing, man. We don't think about her. Kamala Harris. What do you feel about her?
I mean, I guess I like her. I just want to hear more, but I want to hear more from like five people max.
What about Pete Buttigieg?
Don't even know who that is.
He's the mayor that.
Nope, don't know. Beto, I feel like somebody tweeted one time that Twitter really gassed this fool up to run, and I was like, that's not accurate, so I'm over it.
Yeah, it
I mean, he don't
accurate.
have no experience.
I'm not
then
excited either.
Kirsten,
I
whatever.
just know-
I mean, there's just too many.
I mean,
we need to begin to consolidate.
it's gotta be Bernie,
it's got to be concise. We need an arrow.
But right now, the arrow is pointing towards Bernie and Biden.
Together?
No, like
Biden really said he was gonna run?
Biden is absolutely fucking running.
Shit, I might vote for.
Biden,
I don't know.
I
don't know.
But you know what? You know what's
if
so
he got
fucking
Kamala
complicated?
as his VP, I
But
might
you know
look
what?
at it.
I would vote for Biden because I trust him now. But the problem with Biden is that his track record is long, and Biden has a history of doing some wild, not racist, but you fucking with racist type
he
shit.
Political. He political. He kind of like
he was
a Hillary.
anti-busing. He was
a little
anti-busing
Hillary.
back in the 70s.
He kind of Hillary. He got that Hillary vibe because he been in it so long. So there's a lot to examine. Right. You know, I mean, right now we're talking about the touching and whatever, which I haven't even read because I'm like, I don't even want to hear it because I wasn't really considering him. Right. But we need to. I feel like at this point, early on, we need to start to narrow it down. We need to just fucking narrow it down.
It's actually the truth of the matter is right now it's Biden or Sanders.
So
right now it's two white men. Yeah, we're back to all white men because they feel like the only realistic challenger, the only people that can recapture these angsty white dudes in the heartland is to somehow have.
I do agree with that
them.
though. I don't see these people who are
I heard
dissatisfied with Trump voting for Kamala.
I just actually heard Elizabeth Warren. The new dish on her is that she used to be mad conservative, economically conservative back in the 70s.
I mean, who wasn't though?
I don't know. And nobody's perfect. That's all I know.
What else?
I'm waiting for Michelle to run. As soon as she says she's running,
not
we're done.
running.
I know she's not, but I'm just saying.
She's like, thank God I am out of that fucking house.
I wish Stacey Abrams was running, but she's
got her own thing, and I think rightly so. I think that she can really galvanize people on the voting and voter suppression. Mm-hmm. I think that she has a lot of weight, and I think that she knows how to use it. I've heard the woman speak.
Yes.
And I was sold on it. So basically, whoever she endorse, I'll probably I'm gonna vote for them.
So do we? Okay, speaking of presidential candidates, do we think that Cory Booker and Rosario Dawson are in a real relationship?
Ready. I do believe they're in a real relationship.
Okay.
She's not his beard.
She's not his beard.
I really believe that they could be in a real relationship.
He's a heterosexual man.
I think so.
Okay, just checking.
I think he's just been playing it cool. He's very middle of the road. You know, he's not trying to ruffle no feathers. So I think he played it. He was like, "Oh, motherfuckers want to think I'm gay. That's cool."
I have no gaydar.
And I'm fine with that. I think that
it.
At this point, to be a little like everyone likes to be ethnically ambiguous.
Now it's cool to be sexually ambiguous.
Yes, right. Gender ambiguous. Okay. That's fine.
All right.
And love is love. So
that's what's up.
But I don't think we're ready for Rosario Dawson to be first lady.
That would be wild.
I also have, in the time that Cory Booker has been
She's been naked on film, hasn't she?
Multiple times. But but Melania been naked, so that clearly isn't a
that sometimes gets lost.
That ain't something that I don't know that it ever gets lost. No, I think but that's definitely not a deal breaker. It is not a deal breaker.
I don't know. A woman of color naked.
Yeah, that's right there. You hit it. Stop right there. Okay. Woman of color. We don't want no. We are not. I don't see America as a whole voting for another woman of color or a man who identifies as black.
Although him as a black man and her as a Latino woman, I gotta say, in terms of demographics, that's fucking genius.
Hey, I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
That's fucking genius.
And she's been very active with Voto Latino and registering people to vote and all of that.
That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that now,
I'm not saying I feel shouldn't be a thing.
I feel terrible, but for the fact that I'm gravitating to Cory Booker, and I know I don't like him that much, but it's because of familiarity bias, and I just
don't think I like him.
I don't like him. He's not Obama. I keep telling myself he's not Obama.
Prior to him running for president or wanting the bid for president, I wasn't like, that's the dude. I wasn't like, that's the dude.
No, I didn't.
So
no, I didn't feel that. But what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is that could Rosario be my Michelle? Is now what I'm asking.
I mean, I don't know her. I've seen her, met her, and I admire her work as an activist and as an actress. I don't know that for all of those opportunities, that I think she is the best woman for that role.
Okay.
And Cory Booker has yet to really prove himself to me as a president.
Dig it. All right. That's all I need to know about that.
You know.
That's what's up. Anything good happening?
That movie Little
is out.
Is out. Please go see it, y'all. This movie stars 3 black women: Marseille Martin from Blackish.
Yes.
Issa Rae.
I think she counts.
From
we can still call her a little girl, can't we?
She's 14. She's a little girl.
She
is not a woman.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like not 3 black women, 2 black women and a little girl.
Sure. Yeah. And Regina Hall. Yes. And Marseille, I think most notably, is the executive producer, one of the executive producers on this film. She is the youngest executive producer of a film. Ever. On that alone.
Crazy.
We should support the movie. And I recently saw today that Yvonne Orji bought out I believe it's the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Theater for tomorrow for the 1:50 p.m. screening. So take a little person.
Amazing.
A child. Yeah. Sorry, not just a little person. Take a child with you.
Yeah.
And y'all first come, first serve. But you can see that movie free. And Issa Rae, in her promo tour, challenged her and someone else, and everyone is kind of challenging and really encouraging people to go support this movie. Come on, y'all. You know, opening weekend is it. So let's really support these women, support this young woman, this young black woman doing major things. Shout out to the parents for raising really an amazing young woman who knows her worth and is like, you know what I'm about to do? And just sit back and watch.
Amazing. Other great news is Amazon Prime Video is developing Wild Seed, My favorite Octavia book in the whole world. The acclaimed patternist sci-fi series from Viola Davis and Julius Tennant's Juvie Productions. Also co-written by award-winning sci-fi novelist Nende Okorafor. I think I said that right.
Yes.
And Rafiki filmmaker Wanyuri Kaihu, who I know personally. She's great.
Do you really?
I do. I met her when I first moved to LA, actually at an open mic. And she was still in UCLA Film School.
Okay, go ahead, girl.
Yep. And so this is really amazing. I mean, if y'all don't, I mean, when I say this is some when I say there couldn't be better people handling a better story, this is just the dream team. This is just amazing. It's just going to be. I literally just.
I mean,
wait.
I'm so here for
wait.
People supporting films and shows helmed by Black women. We've got season 4 of Queen Sugar. Please continue to watch that show. We've got other things.
We're living you know what the problem is? We're living in a renaissance of black content. There's so many black shows. I couldn't tell you. I don't know I'm not even watching Black Lightning anymore.
I can't keep up with them all.
I am a comic. I am a black comic book nerd, and I do not have time to watch Black Light.
If people in LA are also looking to support black artists, Town Street Theater Company I'm a part of, we are doing a second run of the play in response, Year of the Woman. Still, we are back at the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood, Saturdays at 8, Sundays at 4. Mm-hmm. For the production, it's a wonderful ensemble production of various stories of women throughout the ages. I mean, it's just a really wonderful group of people, lots of talent, really relevant stories, still very timely. And this theater company, this is their 26th year of producing theater in LA. It is a primarily African-American theater company. So if y'all are into that, go see the show. Again, tickets are on Eventbrite. If you go to my Instagram, also, we're doing a 2 for $25 ticket special and other promotions like that throughout the run. So you got 6 more shows to check it out.
That's right. And guys, look, I'm sorry to keep harping on this, but if you have never heard of Wild Seed, you need to go look it up, read the book.
Yes.
It's a story about African mutants born in the dawn of history, prehistory, an immortal being named Doro who can shift his consciousness from body to body, and a shapeshifter named Anyanwu who can heal people with her. It's just, and their children. It's, guys, African shape-shifting mutants.
This is
what
amazing.
The fuck, yo? Oh my God. Let's get
it.
Oh my God. I hope we haven't bummed you out too much tonight.
I mean, I don't think it was nothing they hadn't already been bummed about.
Yeah,
so.
and I hope we left you on a good note. Game of Thrones is coming back. You don't have to be black to enjoy that. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
It's the last season. Y'all gotta get into it.
It's the last season. Get into it. I cannot wait.
Hi.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Okay?
The kids need to go.
We're coming in, okay?
Yeah.
We're coming in right now, okay?
We're saying goodnight to the people.
We're coming in. See you in 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah. So look, check us out.
We're on the gram.
The name of the show, October. The name of the show is going to be called Wild Seed. Look up Wild Seed in Amazon. It's going to be on Amazon Prime Video. It's being produced by Juvie Productions, which is Viola Davis's company. Check it out, or just message me. We'll talk. Anyways, we got to go. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
We're
on all
thank
the
you, family.
things.
Thank
we're
you,
on
beloveds.
Instagram, Woke Kids, Facebook, Twitter, all those things.
Spotify, iHeartRadio,
check out the podcast.
iTunes.
We've got so many episodes. If you want to go back into history, see what we was talking about at any given moment.
You should. It's historical. We're the podcast of record for our block in LA, in Del Rey. All right, guys, it's late.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, man, we love you. Peace. Good night.
Bye.